Welcome back to Everyday English Pod. Today we're tackling something that's top of mind for so many professionals out there. How do you really level up your business English skills in this crazy, fast-changing world? I mean, it's 2025, things are moving at warp speed, and communication is more important than ever, right?
You're absolutely right. And the thing is, it's not just about knowing the right words anymore. It's about knowing how to use those words to build relationships, navigate different cultures, and really get things done in this global marketplace.
Almost like business English has its own set of rules. Now it's on etiquette and strategies.
I think that's a really good way to put it. And what's really fascinating is how technology is becoming such a game changer. It's not just a tool, it's changing the whole landscape of how we learn and use business English.
Okay, so let's dive right into the tech side. We're hearing so much about AI in education, and I'm curious, what's your take on it? What are some of the concrete ways you're seeing these AI-powered learning platforms really make a difference for business English?
Well, you've got to think about it this way. Imagine getting instant personalized feedback on your pronunciation, like down to the tiniest little sound.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I know some platforms are even using virtual reality now, too. What are your thoughts on that? How does VR actually help with business English?
You know, the beauty of VR is that it really tricks your brain into thinking you're in a real situation. It can trigger those same nerves and anxieties you'd feel giving a big presentation or negotiating a tough contract. And the thing is, you get to practice managing those feelings and honing your communication skills in a safe environment where there are no real-world consequences.
But at the same time, do you ever worry about relying too heavily on technology? I mean, human interaction is still pretty crucial, right?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. It's not about replacing one with the other. The real magic happens when you combine the two. So you've got technology for personalized practice and feedback, and real human interaction for those subtle cultural insights and that kind of instinctive understanding you just can't get from an algorithm.
You brought up a great point, cultural insights. With remote work becoming so common, it seems like we're interacting with people from all over the world more than ever before. What are your thoughts on really mastering that cross-cultural communication piece?
Yeah, that's key. You can't underestimate the importance of cultural nuances in business. A gesture or a phrase that might be totally harmless in one culture could be completely misinterpreted in another.
So how do you even begin to learn all those nuances?
Yeah.
It feels like there are so many different cultures and customs to navigate.
That's where things like those new AI-powered cultural intelligence platforms come into play. These things are amazing. They can simulate different international business scenarios, so you can practice things like email etiquette and small talk in different cultural contexts. They can even analyze your tone and your word choices, helping you avoid potential cultural faux pas.
And I guess the more you practice, the more you start to develop that instinct for what's appropriate in different situations.
Exactly. And honestly, one of the best ways to develop that instinct is through exposure, actually interacting with people from different cultures. Networking events, even virtual ones, can be fantastic for that.
Speaking of networking, are there any particular strategies that you found really effective for building those international connections, especially in a world where so much of our interaction happens online?
For me, it's all about being proactive and building genuine relationships. I think people appreciate it when you show a genuine interest in their culture, their work, their perspective, asking thoughtful questions, sharing relevant articles, that kind of thing goes a long way.
And what about language barriers? How do you navigate those initial conversations when you might not be fluent in the other person's language?
Well, thankfully, technology is playing a huge role there. Real-time translation tools are getting incredibly sophisticated, but I always emphasize that they're a tool, not a crutch. They're fantastic for getting the gist of a conversation, but you still need to make an effort to communicate clearly and be patient with the process.
So if you had to give one top tip for someone who's just starting out in international business, what would it be?
I'd say be humble. Don't assume you know everything. Be willing to ask questions, be observant, and be open to learning from your mistakes. Building trust in a global environment takes time and effort.
That's excellent advice. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the elephant in the room, remote work. It's completely changed the way we communicate, hasn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. Mastering those virtual communication skills is non-negotiable these days. It's all about being present, engaging, and really knowing how to use those digital tools to your advantage.
So what are some of the key skills people should be focusing on?
Well, for starters, your virtual presence is huge. Think about how you're framing yourself on camera, how you're using eye contact even though it's through a lens, and how you're using your voice to convey confidence and enthusiasm.
And then there's the whole etiquette of virtual meetings, right? It's like there's a whole new set of rules to learn.
Definitely. Being mindful of things like muting your microphone when you're not speaking, using the chat function appropriately, and even just being aware of your background, it all matters.
And how do you stay on top of all these constantly changing trends in virtual communication? It can feel overwhelming.
It's really about staying curious and being willing to experiment a little. There are tons of great resources out there, online courses, articles, podcasts that can help you stay up to date. And don't be afraid to try out new platforms and tools. You never know what might work best for you.
It's true. Sometimes the best way to learn is just to jump in and try things out. Now, we've talked a lot about virtual communication, but what about that other essential skill, business writing? It still feels very relevant in 2025.
You're so right. In fact, I'd argue that strong writing skills are even more crucial now. It's all about being able to communicate your ideas clearly and concisely, no matter what platform you're using.
And with AI writing tools becoming so prevalent, how do you see that impacting business writing? Do you think these tools are helpful, or do they create a risk of everyone sounding the same?
I see them as a tool, just like anything else. The key is using them strategically to enhance your writing, not replace it altogether. You still need to bring your own voice, your own critical thinking, and your own understanding of your audience.
So it's about finding that balance between leveraging the technology and maintaining that personal touch.
Exactly. And, one area where I see AI writing tools being particularly useful is in helping people identify and correct those common grammar and usage errors that can really detract from the professionalism of their writing.
That makes a lot of sense. And as we wrap up, I'm curious, looking ahead to the rest of 2025 and beyond, what are some of the biggest trends you see shaping the future of business English?
I think we're going to continue to see a huge emphasis on personalization and adaptability. The one-size-fits-all approach is dead. It's all about tailoring your communication to the specific needs and preferences of your audience, whether that's through language, tone, or the use of technology.
It sounds like business English is really becoming a more dynamic and multifaceted skill set. It's not just about language anymore. It's about cultural awareness, digital fluency, and the ability to connect with people on a human level, no matter where they are in the world.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's an exciting time to be working in this global marketplace, and those who are willing to embrace these changes and continuously learn and adapt will be the ones who thrive.
That's some fantastic food for thought as we head into the rest of the year. Thanks so much for joining us on Everyday English Pod today.
It's been my pleasure.
And for all of you listening, remember, keep learning, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep those connections strong.